Welcome back. I am T the Oracle. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. So we're going to continue our segment on the four dramas or the four traumas according to the Celestine prophecy. However, if you kind of look at it in a psychological sense or psychology type of sense, then they might be named other things. But just to kind of bring it into the forefront so you can kind of understand the relation and how it affects us from childhood into growing up. So look at the previous video where I spoke about, if your parent was the interrogator, you may have become an aloof type person. So definitely check out that previous video. So today we're going to focus on the poor me and the intimidator. So say for instance, if your parent was an intimidator, more than likely because of those traumatic experiences, you may tend to fall into the category of a person who is a poor me. So first, let me explain what the intimidator is. Intimidator is usually someone who tries to gain access to your energy basically by fear. So usually they may say certain things to you that always kind of leaves you on edge, and it makes you feel like, okay, what's going to happen next? What are they going to do next? And they always tell you certain things, or they may tell you certain stories about what they've done in the past to people because of this. And so it gets you to thinking mentally and psychologically, okay, if I do this or if I lead them to do this, then this might happen to me as well. So they kind of lead by fear. And it kind of almost goes hand in hand with I guess you would say, a narcissistic type of person. Narcissistic type of person goes with a lot of type of characteristics and traits, but I do say that it kind of goes hand in hand with that as well. Usually an intimidator presents themselves as someone who is superior, so therefore you are inferior, right? They usually like to play psychological games, so you may find yourself being mentally drained. You always feel mentally drained dealing with that person, even being around that person or being in the same room with that person. Or sometimes it might even make you feel sick, or you might feel like, I just don't even want to be in this person's presence. But for sure, the intimidator always usually rules by fear, right? And so if they're able to put that fear in your mind, then they're able to rule, manipulate, and control you. Now, like I said, it usually bursts the poor me type of person. So a poor me type of person is a person who, and I know everybody has come across somebody like that. You may be this person. They always feel as if nothing really good has happened to them in their life. They usually tell you stories, just negative stories about everything that's happened to them. They really never have any positive stories. It's always like, man, you went through a lot in your life. Like, it's no positivity. And not to say, I mean, some people have gone through some things where it's just really not too many things that they can claim to be positive that happen. But at the same time, you still breathing, you here. But I do understand that, so we don't want to go too deep into that. But with the poor me, they seek to, what shall I say, seek to gain control by manipulating the situation where you always feel sympathy for them. So you always feel sorry. So you feel as if you have to do something for them or look out for them or coddle them because they've been through so much. And that's how they tend to manipulate. Now, the poor me may know that they're doing that, or they may not know that they're doing that. But that's how they learn how to cope, and that's how they learn how to survive and get through life, getting the things that they really want, even if they don't get it too often. But like I said, they usually tell negative stories, and you just like, dang, that's like a negative Nancy. Like, I just don't want to be around her or him. Like, every story that they tell is just like damn near heartbreaking or negative, where it's just like, oh my God, here they come. I do not want to hear another negative story. You know what I mean? So it's almost like that. So it kind of breeds that type of person. And when you have an intimidator parent, why did they become like that? You know what I mean? They may have had, it's like a cycle. They may have had a poor me parent where the parent is always saying something negative. The parent is always telling them something negative. The parent is always anxious. The parent never really gives them solid, concrete information or evidence or something that helps to soothe them. So in turn, the intimidator is like, as they grow and adapt and as they get older into their teenage adult years, they like, nah, I got to learn how to control my situations. I seen my parents grow up, and it's just like stuff always happen to them, and they're never in control of their situation. So you know what? When I grow up, I'm gonna make sure I'm in control of every situation, every relationship, anything that I'm in, I'm gonna have control. And so that's how you breed an intimidator. So then the intimidator, which was your parent, grew up to be an intimidator, and then they had you and they ruled their household that way, and then you become the poor me. You see how the cycle is like a vicious cycle? It just goes and goes and goes. So if you just stop to really understand how this dynamic works and how they go hand in hand, then you're able to see, okay, this is why I am the way that I am. Because remember I said in the previous video, everyone says this, even I say it. It's like, why are you like that? This is me. This is my personality. And of course, there are certain things that you came into this world, into this plane born with, but there are certain things that were nurtured and natured and learned by experience. That's how we learn the bulk of what we know, and how we mold ourselves and become this character is because of the experiences that we had in childhood. And sometimes a lot of those experiences are traumatic, and they help to mold and build us in a positive or negative way. Okay, so just wanted to give y'all a little bit more insight into that. Now I will come back and do an overall video and just kind of do a cross section of how all of them kind of work, and some of them can play in with each other, but definitely, you know, those two, the intimidator and the poor me, and then you have the interrogator and the Lou, they usually tend to go together, but they can cross sections. Now, in dealing with childhood trauma, once you understand what the issue is and where it stemmed from, that gives you the basis of how to work on yourself and see how you can improve yourself, and how it can improve your life, your relationships, and just your overall well-being. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to add to it, because that's really the basis of everything. But yeah, childhood traumas are a trip. And once you kind of understand it, then you're like, wow, this really has an effect on me, not only growing up through my adolescence years, but as an adult. This affects how I perceive things, how I see things, how I act and react to certain situations. And so once I learn this, then I will know, okay, this is why I am standoffish from people or relationships, or this is why I seek to control people and situations a lot. So it's really imperative to kind of get an understanding of this, and then you can go from there on how to kind of redirect your life in a way that you see fit, where you see it impacting you in a positive way, and it can steer your life and your journey into a way that's more beneficial and more peaceful for you. And then in turn, you'll be able to resolve some of the childhood traumatic experiences and traumas that you've internalized, and learn how to release it and move forward. Thanks again. Peace.